Hello, everyone. Thank you for stopping by the Hoarding Solution podcast. And today I'd like to talk about something called Remember Your Why. And I came across this little item a few weeks ago. And while I probably didn't need another item, I really liked the message and that it is small and it really did resonate with me as far as remembering our why. And I know it's like mid-February. And so often by this time in a new year, I think sometimes we waver with what we thought we were going to do. This year, I didn't make New Year's resolutions. I just made some intentions. And so that's working for me. So some of those intentions include just enjoying those moments I'm in, whatever moment it is, and doing more journaling and working more collaboratively in connecting with other people who also are remembering their why, but also are very heart centered about the work they're doing. And so I just encourage people to, whatever your why is, whether it's your job, maybe you're in college, maybe you're helping someone with a situation they're in, maybe you're launching a business or a new podcast or whatever it is that you're doing. And it's often, it could be raising your kids or grandkids or just anything in your life that you're doing that's valuable for you and valuable for others. Oftentimes, I think we can forget why we're doing it sometimes. Sometimes we're tired, we're cranky, the coffee pot didn't work right, which happened to me a couple of days ago. And so sometimes it's just those little things that can really um, start to get us off track. So if you are a person who struggles with that at all, I just encourage you to remember your why. And I'm reminded today about youth and youth living in the hoard and how lonely and isolating that can be. And part of my why is to reduce that isolation, to help people understand they aren't alone and that you can escape those situations, particularly if you are a youth or a young person living in a situation that feels intolerable and that you think you're never going to get out of. And there are paths out and there are ways to escape. And I talk about that on some other podcasts and things, but you need to make a plan if you're trying to get out of a situation. And that can be your why. My why right now is to get out of here. I'll come back to that in a minute. But for a podcast, my why is awareness and outreach and connection and helping people understand more about what hoarding actually is. My why is helping people not feel so isolated and alone, whether you're a youth, an adult kid like me who survived it, whether you're a friend, a neighbor, a concerned citizen, whether you're in government or other entities that come across these situations. Um, there's a lot of things happening in hoarding situations that people may or may not understand when they come across these things. And so there's a real need to raise those collective voices around what hoarding is. It is often a trauma response, and it is not all about just the stuff. There's a lot of things going on underneath for both the person that hoards as well as the people that are impacted by that person's hoarding outside of the person that hoards themselves. And so there is a lot of community impact on people who live near these situations, who are trying to manage these situations. And so there's a lot of need for us to be talking about this in a way that brings everyone to the table that's impacted. And that can be very difficult to do. But part of my why is to be that sounding board because it is not necessarily a one size fits all, and not every situation fits a particular solution. So there is a need to look at some of these things separately. But part of the why for any of us is, what are we doing that's impactful for others? What are we doing that's impactful for ourselves? Because often I have found those of us on a heart-centered journey recovering from something, whether it's parents that hoard, maybe you had hoarding issues yourself, maybe there's drug or alcohol or domestic violence, maybe there's divorce, maybe there's money issues. There's all these things that we can be recovering from throughout our lives, and all those things create trauma for us. And we have to find a way through that. We have to find a way to manage that. I wouldn't say it ever totally goes away, but you can learn to manage that, learn what your triggers are and how you approach the world. And so just know that even if you're in a situation that you don't like, you don't have to stay in it. It doesn't have to dictate your future. And for me, I'll just talk a little bit about being a youth. I was a youth that grew up in a hoard. Um, when I left a younger brother who had Duchenne's muscular dystrophy there. I moved out my senior year of high school. I was fortunate enough to have a grandma that allowed me to move in with her, despite the fact that she was worried about making my parents angry. I was able to finish high school staying with her, and then I went into the military. And I'm not saying that's a solution for everyone, but I am saying if you're looking for a way out, there is a way out, and explore it. You know, Google is at our fingertips all the time. And if you're looking for different opportunities to get yourself out of a situation, understand that there are ways to do that, and that you are not always going to be stuck in a place where there's no heat, no running water, and, you know, everything is chaos around you. It doesn't have to always be that way. And I and thousands of others have escaped these hoarding situations and are living proof that you can choose a different life. So no matter what your scenario is, no matter what situation you're in, if you have a purpose, if you have a reason for moving forward, remember that. Remember your why. Remember that you can do something different, choose something different. And there are people out there who will support you on that journey. Sometimes it's hard to find them, but I encourage you to look for groups of people that do understand where you're coming from, and that you do not have to over explain your scenario to get the empathy or the concern that you need. And I hope this message brings hope to someone who is struggling, who is looking for a positive way to move forward. And I would just leave you with this thought that if you've ever struggled with feeling you're not worthy, if you've ever felt stupid or just not up to par, then you got to start with that mindset and shifting it into something like, I am worthy, I am valuable, I am wise, and I can do hard things. And remember that you can do that. You can make choices to do things differently. And while it's not simple, it's not easy, it does take work on your part, you can move forward into a different life. So thank you for stopping by the Hoarding Solution podcast. And remember that you are worthy and that your why matters.